back and said, yeah, sure, you flicked the knife at him and then he died and we didn't look at anything else. That was their original stance until the family said, you know what, let's look into this. Maybe like you may do with an investigation when someone dies at the hands of someone else. Just saying. So police initially described this as a domestic violence incident, but the victim's family said they had to fight to get it investigated, as I was pointing out there. This is what they were talking about. They said it was learned that the security and the building staff at the Miami apartment documented many incidences of loud arguments between the couple after they moved into the building in January of this year. Tenants, as far as an apartment 2 floors above, were making complaints to security and building management about the noises and also the ruckus. Here's one more part, Dan, because I'm glad we finally found this. As Clinty had maybe a chance to talk about on podcast, she was a bit of a figure on social media. She was talking about what she's about and who she likes to be around. Let's watch that. Do we have that?
I'm Courtney Taylor, and I do OF for a living.
OnlyFans. You got like 1 million followers or something?
2 million.
Damn. You look like the type of girl that only dates like rich guys. Is that true?
No, that's not true. I only date black guys, especially black guys. Especially black guys. Let me clarify. I only date rich.
Okay, rich black guys. There we go. And so you know you're toxic.
Yeah.
You can tell she like black guys. It's like
It's a fun podcast, Dan. What are your thoughts, bro?
I love that we've gone from the Joe Rogan Experience to this and our like continued falling down the, I guess, tubes of the quality of what podcasts are and how they go. Leaving the obvious get out jokes that I could make aside, I'll just say that everything you see on social media is fake, including that you cannot tell the mental health of anyone who is on social media. So just keep that in mind as you are scrolling. I'm really talking like there's such a history in this country of police officers taking the white woman's word over the black man, regardless if that black man is a boy, like literally a kid, as was the case in history. This has been done time and time again throughout American society. The idea that it's happening in Florida, a state that is having its own like racial issues as well as any other state would with any like police system that America has. This doesn't surprise me that originally the case was going to be dismissed. Like they were going to look at this and say, oh, well, it's pretty much case closed. This seems like an act of self-defense because this was a scary black man who was obviously so much bigger than her. So of course, but I'm glad that there's that evidence that from the security and people taking records. I'm glad there's the video evidence where you see that he's mostly trying to just like fight her off there in the last moments of his life. Unfortunately, it's not the kind of thing like I've seen a few number of rapper disputes in elevators in my time, so to speak. Right? I don't know if you remember these as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when the violence is being done on someone, it's pretty clear. These are acts of self-defense on this larger guy, and I'm glad there's some attempt at some justice being had here.
Do you want to squeeze Emily? We can squeeze this. I want to get a thought out. No, we can't. No, there's no way. Damn it. Serping me. We're gonna go to a few y'all's comments. Let's see what you guys have to say as we wrap up this week. I haven't spoken to you guys enough. I miss you. Let's see what you guys have to say about what we've gone through today. TYT members, Nostra Science says, I can pop my knuckle. This is talking about chiropractors. I can pop my knuckle too. It's a dumb chiropractor trick for the appointment money. Might as well tear a phone book in half. Maybe magic tricks as well. Twitch, love you guys on Twitch, says, Stars View says, every chiropractor is different. There are good ones and bad ones. These look like bad ones. Carp ODB says, I shocked a chiropractor with the sounds coming from my knees. That's good, right? I mean, maybe if they snatch your knees around, it wouldn't be so surprised. Green New Dealer Dragon says, where was the radical right-wing talking points machine when Fred Hampton got raided? Oh man.
Well,
if there was Instagram and Twitter then.
The radical right-wing talking machine was saying a lot of words that would have had to have been censored on these airwaves now. I'll put it like that. And they were racial slurs.
I feel like they were saying them then too, just not on Truth Social. Kyle 8315 says, that's not true. I can tell that almost everyone on Twitter has very poor mental health, myself included. I guess me too, because I'm always all over Twitter. YouTube super chat, you guys. Laura Taylor, thank you very much. Grumpy Cat, also thank you very much. She says she also kills them. I'm talking about that influencer that and her boyfriend. And lastly, Alan, also YouTube super chat. Thank you guys very, very much for all those comments and conversations that we have as we go through this show. Also, thank you, Dan, for joining us on this last day of the watch list this week. Up next is John Iadarola with the Damage Report. After a couple days, we'll see you guys on Monday for another fresh week. Best day of the week. We're gonna get it started right this time, you guys. See you next time.
Welcome one and all to Friday on the Damage Report. I'm John Iadarola, joined as always by my co-host, the Trash Can Trashy, brought to you by, I'm gonna say Target. but also we've got Brett Erlich. Brett, how's it going?
Well,
and what's going on?
Call me reverse angle B-boy today because this is the other side of my office that I have to use whenever there's a giant explosion somewhere near my house and there's no power. So you're getting me via the sat phone, the same one that I used during Naked and Afraid, those seasons I was on there. You can find me. I'm the one with the perfect butt.
I think we would have known at first cheek glance. But anyway, no, I think, look, the fact that you lost all power, that you're on your cell phone, I think, and it looks and sounds like that.
Wife and I almost got divorced because I was attaching these to the wall just in time. She's like, no, you don't need those. I was like cheekily and dismissively, thanks for the input. So I'm gonna spend the rest, I've already apologized. I'm gonna spend the rest of the day trying to crawl out of the doghouse.
Yeah. Here's the thing about that doghouse, and this is probably gonna make you feel briefly better and also make the situation worse for you. You were right, the shot needs those.
Thank you.
Think. It looks way better than if you didn't have it.
It was doing that like auto blur, and since I'm on my phone, I couldn't find anything. Anyways, I've been up since 3 a.m. I've already watched Licorice Pizza and Hunt for Red October today, so it's gonna be downhill from here because those are two amazing movies.
Yeah, I am considering watching Hunt for Red October on the other podcasts I do. We've talked about doing that as one of them. Licorice Pizza, I cannot tell you how disinterested anything about the PR for that makes me. But anyway, it's not important. We'll talk about it more on the social break.
I'm from the Valley, John, and it's an homage to where I grew up. And there's
everyone deserves a good homage.
Is in a whole scene. I'm gonna take you for Cupid's hot dogs.
We are gonna talk more about this in the social break because there is huge news, including developments on it. News so big it's gone nuclear. Done something. Anyway, we're gonna be talking about a lot through the course of the show. Not only the developments having to do with the FBI search and the attempt to spin it, the Republican press conference that happened earlier today, updates on the guy who tried to attack the FBI, huge changes being announced by the CDC. We got so much other good stuff in the aftermath. If you're watching the full show, we've got absolutely bonkers nanny listings, and we're gonna debate if they're real or not. We're reasonable people, we're gonna exercise that. Updates on Herschel Walker and other terrible people, and then the garbage people of the week we'll be throwing away. There's still time if you wanna get in your votes, by the way, you can go to the community tab on our YouTube channel and vote for your community garbage person of the week. In advance of all of that though, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button and sharing the stream, that would be very helpful. And with all that said, Brett Erlich, are you ready to start the show?
Sure, I'm wasted. Let's do it.
Yes, he's watching Licorice Pizza and drinking heavily. Anyway, with that, let's move into some news. Leaked news last night revealed a little bit, apparently, of what exactly caused the FBI to want to raid Mar-a-Lago. Now, consider this unconfirmed at this point, but supposedly the Washington Post had multiple sources, and it's not looking great. So they say classified documents related to nuclear weapons were among the items FBI agents sought when they searched Mar-a-Lago back on Monday. That was all the way back on Monday. They did not offer additional details about what type of information the agents were seeking, whether it involved weapons belonging to the US or some other nation, nor did they say if the documents were recovered as part of the search. So all they did was drop a little nuclear bombshell on us that it has to do with weapons of mass destruction, and that's all. They can't tell us anything more. But we do know that a person familiar with what was taken from Mar-a-Lago says that there was signals intelligence material, which is intercepted electronic communications like emails or phone calls of foreign leaders that were included in those boxes. Again, according to these sources who are at this point anonymous. So we've been wondering all week, is this actually about the documents? And if it is about the documents, what could possibly merit what's happening? Well, if these reports are true, this would seem to merit. If it has to do with nuclear weapons, about nuclear weapon technology or how to create them or defense systems, then that's the sort of thing in theory you'd want to get a lock on. Now, officially, the story right now is that Donald Trump is denying this. We're gonna read a statement from him on Truth Social where that is apparently what he does. But I think he has accidentally admitted, he has done his stereotypical projection indicating that this is true, that it is about nuclear weapons paperwork, and that he did actually have it. We'll get to that in one moment. But first, here is his, I guess, what passes as an official presidential statement these days, his truth. Nuclear weapons issue is a capital H hoax, just like Russia was a hoax. 2 impeachments were a hoax. The Mueller investigation was a hoax, and much more. Same sleazy people involved. Why wouldn't the FBI allow the inspection of areas at Mar-a-Lago with our lawyers? For some reason, it's got the possessive. Anyway, or others present. Made them wait outside in the heat. Wouldn't let them get even close. Said absolutely not. Planting information, anyone? Reminds me of a Christopher Steele dossier. Yes, they were left out in the heat. They couldn't go somewhere else or get in their car or something. I don't know. But anyway, that is him saying it's a hoax. He's not specific there about what sort of hoax it is. Is it a hoax in that it's not at all about nuclear stuff and this leak is untrue? Is it a hoax in that, sure, maybe that's what they were looking for, but I didn't have it? Or is it a hoax in that that's what they were looking for and I definitely had it, but I don't want you to focus on that, so I'm gonna call it a hoax? Well, that is what he put out since last night. But he also released this statement more recently saying, President Barack Hussein Obama kept 33 million pages of documents, much of them classified. How many of them pertain to nuclear? Word is lots. And I think that is, for me, definitive. First of all, he's super confused about the 33 million. He's definitely thinking about the 33,000 Hillary emails. So whatever. What does he know about whatever documents Obama has? Nothing. What I do know though is he's telling you everybody takes nuclear documents, man. Obama's got tons of them. So why are you getting on my back, Jack? I think this is him admitting, Brett, that he does have paperwork having to do with nuclear technology. What do you think?
I don't think you can take anything he says as a statement of reality ever, because his approach is the everything, everywhere, all at once approach, where he will say every kind of argument instead of picking one like a normal person. And the reason that he does that, this is actually a strategy that has always played out for the guy. He does that because he just wants to put out like, hey, here's a bunch of vines that a bunch of confirmation biased people can latch onto. And if one of those vines turns out to be just a snake not attached to anything and it gives way, there's another vine nearby. And that is played out every single time with the Trump administration as he, tries he A/B tests a bunch of different strategies. And if one loses, he doesn't ever admit fault. So that's not really even part of the calculus, because admitting fault is the indicator to people that he did something wrong. Instead, he just switches pathologically to the other story.
Yeah, that is possible. And I certainly don't take whatever he says at face value, but I do know that he projects. I know that about all of them. And so I could be wrong, but I feel like when they say the FBI is definitely planting stuff, that to me tells me that they think that there is something there. So when they say everybody has nuclear stuff, that to me says that they have nuclear stuff. I could be wrong. I get a lot of predictions wrong, but I feel like their projecting is a pretty safe basis for predictions, I think.
Yeah, anyway. And also another thing about how this is all playing out, it is very similar to how, like, when you break up with someone and you live together. I don't know if you've ever done that, but when that happens, you're like, oh crap, this is your belt from Argentina that you got on your trip that I still have in my closet. And they're like, yeah, I need it back. And you're like, sure. I can't tell if I spitefully stole this or just accidentally stole this. But they're like, I'll just give it back. It's fine. But if you hold on to it too much, they're like, I'm gonna get like someone to come over and get it back from you. I actually need that thing. Yeah. That's what is happening. And it looked like they, I don't know if you covered this yesterday, but they did subpoena that stuff. They said, hey, just hand it over. And he didn't. So they're like, well, we're gonna come and get it. And every complaint he has holds no water whatsoever.
Yeah, and well, when we're gonna get to the whole releasing thing, I'm gonna give an early heads up before we move on to this next thing that to skip. Apologies in advance. I'm gonna be moving around a little bit of stuff. I apologize. Why is this significant? Well, for several reasons. First of all, because it's about nukes. I mean, I feel like that's pretty self-evident that makes it more significant if it's about nuclear weapons. But beyond just like the topic, and it might be possible to come up with what's a topic that the paperwork could have been about that would have been worse. Maybe something related to the insurrection. That's more domestically important, maybe. I don't know about internationally. Right, super fast. Is there anything else that would have been, if it's one word applied to what they were looking for? I feel like nuclear is the worst.
I think nuclear is the worst. They don't say it was the Social Security secret documents option when they talk about blowing up Supreme Court nominees. They don't talk about like the keys to the Oval Office bathroom winter when they talk about the end of the universe. Or life on Earth. Nuclear, in my estimation, is the worst kind of bomb.
It's probably.
Thank you for thinking of me as a corroborator in that point. I appreciate being involved.
So beyond just that, let's now dive into, let's really focus on nuclear weapons or technology and Donald Trump. Well, this is an initial pass. Everybody's like scrambling to try to figure this out in advance of hopefully more information coming. But a lot of people have focused on back early on in the Trump administration, there was this probe into nuclear technology with Saudi Arabia that Donald Trump was apparently involved in. A committee report that the Republicans rejected made a number of accusations, including that the Trump administration, quote, tried to rush the transfer of highly sensitive US nuclear technology to Saudi Arabia. This was without congressional review and a potential violation of the Atomic Energy Act that restricts the export of US nuclear technology. So they were trying to make this happen and they were apparently stopped. It makes me think of that. It makes me think of back when he worked for TYT Investigates, Ken Klippenstein doing reporting. Jonathan Larson reminded me of this, of a Trump affiliated lawyer getting involved with the Saudis to lobby for more access to this technology. So that's something to look into. Or even more recently, the fact that the Saudi, like the sovereign investment firm, you recall that they gave billions of dollars in investment to Jared Kushner, despite the fact that the oversight board's like, there's no reason to do this. Now, probably this has nothing to do with it. The fact that an incredibly close working associate and family member of Donald Trump just got billions of dollars from the country that he was trying to rush technology to. Probably it has nothing to do with it, but I don't know, he's not giving us a lot of information, so we're sort of scrambling to figure this out.
You know, there was someone at Mar-a-Lago just kind of skulking around that got kind of arrested for just eventually got caught after hanging out at Mar-a-Lago, like infiltrating Mar-a-Lago during the Trump presidency. If I'm the FBI, there's a couple things I don't want. I don't want to get embarrassed. The FBI has a good track record in certain situations and a god-awful, horrible, no good, very bad reputation in others that have been covered on this network quite a bit. But that said, I just want people to go back to the instinct test. Like, what does your instinct tell you after, Trump is stupid and opportunistic. He's not a whistleblower. There's no whistleblowing red flags going off at the FBI saying that Trump might, blow the whistle on what we've been doing that's corrupt. No. Trump's either gonna freaking lose it or have it stolen from him, or since he violated the emoluments clause by all accounts, he profited off of his position during his presidency when he doesn't have access to the White House anymore. Obviously, we're gonna be afraid of that guy trying to profit from his position after his presidency, or just stupidly, accidentally telling people secrets. I'm fine with them looking at it.
Exactly, yeah, and look, I don't like it, and I wish that it hadn't come to this. You know how it could have not come to this? Well, there's a couple ways. He could have not taken the documents in the first place, or alternatively, when they came months ago asking for them, he could have made them all available. Those would have been great ways to not have him be raided. Anyway, I want to turn now to some other aspects of this. So we're gonna jump down to graphic 9. Again, Skip, I'm the worst. I'm a thought criminal and I apologize, but let's jump ahead. Donald Trump swears that he wants clarity on what happened with the FBI and the raid. And while yesterday, Merrick Garland, during his incredibly brief address to the nation that he made us wait like 45 minutes for, said that he was pushing for the search warrant and the information about what was taken to be made available. He has an ally in that, and he's right over here. Donald Trump saying, release the documents now. And he goes even further saying, not only will I not oppose the release of documents related to the un-American, unwarranted, and unnecessary raid, I am going a step further by encouraging the immediate release of these documents. Except that he's not actually doing that. He's not actually doing literally anything to get them released, except for posting on Truth Social about it, as more reporting has revealed. Again, apologies to Skip, I'm gonna jump ahead to 11. Former President Donald Trump could apparently unilaterally release the warrant that federal agents used to search his resort and residence at Mar-a-Lago. But news reports suggest that Trump and his allies instead are still trying to decide whether or not to fight the DOJ's motion to unseal the document and the list of goods that were taken. Now, I hesitated to talk about this because I'm not a lawyer, and it's entirely possible that he wouldn't have unilateral ability to release that. But no, in this case, he does. So he truths, release them. He truths, I'm encouraging, really want it out there. And then he huddles with his team and is like, how are we gonna stop this stuff from going out? Like, so I get why he would want to imply that he wants it to come out. He's presenting himself as the victim, as an aggrieved, persecuted individual. All of right-wing media is doing that. So he has to pretend that he wants it out. And it's not inconceivable that he could want it. If their warrant was BS, if they didn't find anything, then releasing that would be a great way to get more people on your side. But the fact that he's not releasing it willingly, he could post it on Truth right now. The fact that his allies are discussing the possibility of challenging the release in court, which would be damning to his side, except that it wouldn't affect the right-wing narrative at all. I mean, Brett, this is so hilarious how much he wants to present himself as a victim, but secretly, he don't want anybody learning about this.
Because what he wants is something that makes it seem like he's not hiding anything, and something that will delay the release of all the information. And those two things can't happen at the same time. He can sue to block it. He can sue to open it. If he sues to open it, that, or initiate steps to unlock certain documents. If he does that, he runs the risk of the AG being like, all right, fine. And Biden going, what? Oh yeah, declassify whatever you got to do to show what that guy did wrong. That's the part that I'm not sure about, is Biden dirtying his hands in things that there are still some people in the Senate and the halls of power in Washington who still hold some kind of decorum sacred to the job.
Yeah.
For better and for worse. But yeah, it's just absolutely, positively, just all show and no intelligence there for Donald Trump in his brain, but probably in the drawers, or maybe like in that little basket by the toilet with the People magazines where he reads his reading in the Mar-a-Lago residence.
Yeah, there's signals intelligence, as in emails. There's no signals going from one neuron to the other, really. And meanwhile, by the way, and I get that they're partly right. The right-wing media, like if you were watching Fox News last night, is like their narrative is falling apart. They're trying to spin this thing. Like you guys are gonna be denying that nuclear weapon stuff is important, as we'll get to in a moment. So that's fun. By the way, Bruce Reinhart, US magistrate judge, says to the DOJ, you got until 3 p.m. to notify him of whether Trump's attorneys are opposed to the unsealing of the warrant. So that's Eastern. So we got less than 2 hours. This is happening today. Not necessarily that it's coming out, but that if they're gonna stop it from coming out, then we get to rejoice in them looking so ridiculous that Merrick Garland effectively called their bluff, and then they had to reveal that they're sitting on nothing. That's happening today. You also got the IRA passing the House today. I told you on Tuesday, this is like the best news week in like 2 years. And I think people were a little bit skeptical. Every day has gotten better since then.
Right. So I forgot what I was gonna say. Sorry, John.
I apologize. That's my bad.
You made a bunch of really good points in a row. I had cogent responses. Oh, all right. So here we go. Cut out all the stupid stuff Brett just said until this point. The Trump team has already kind of started to ambiguate essentially over the warrant word. He said this is a warrantless search. They had a warrant, so it is a warranted search. But they're already saying, well, warrants don't tell you everything. We want these sworn affidavits. They're just gonna invent things that may or may not exist that really exonerate Trump. That's how they're gonna delay and pick up more mud in everybody's face so that they can make their getaway.
is so classic. They don't want the warrant, Brett. They want the long form warrant.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah, by the way,
here it is.
yeah, the sworn affidavit. Okay, I don't really know what that is. Yeah, release that too. Release all of it. I think we should see it. Good, as long as it doesn't have literally how to make a nuke on it or something. For that, you should have to go to a storage room in Mar-a-Lago to find out. Anyway, okay, skip continuing apologies. We're gonna jump into the first video in a second, but I'm gonna set it up. We've been waiting to find out what it is that warranted the FBI going to Mar-a-Lago and raiding it. And the right wing was saying it has to be something good. You have to tell us. So now it's about nukes. You would think, well, that's the end of that debate. I mean, if it's about nukes, then they have to take it semi-seriously. Come on, have you watched Fox News? Take a look at Laura Ingraham last night.
That FBI agents were scouring Trump's residence in search of nuclear documents. Now, that could mean anything, right? It could be a printout from the Nuclear Regulatory Agency or the Department of Energy. It could be an email, whatever. And if that's the excuse that they want to run with for this raid, how could they possibly justify letting Hillary Clinton off the hook when she was holding documents that were classified at the highest levels?
First of all, as I've always said, go investigate the server, investigate Hillary Clinton. I really don't care. I don't think they do either, because after all, she's pretending there that she wants an equal standard, which is if you have this stuff, you should be investigated. But bear in mind, she doesn't want Trump to be investigated. So if there is a standard, it's to not investigate either of them. So in that case, she could probably just calm down. But no, the fact that it's about nuclear weapons, it could be a brochure, it could be an email, it could be a recipe, it could be anything. Well, it can't be anything, because many things are not about nuclear weapons, which this thing is. So that does narrow it down just a little bit, Laura Ingraham. But of course, that's their job, Brett. I mean, come on. There was nothing that was going to be in this thing where they're gonna be like, oh, they're serious now. Now S got serious. No, it was never gonna happen.
It's so funny how low the bar is for creating a segment on Fox News. They're just like, yeah, it could be, anything. I think the most hilarious concept would be if in the White House, in the Oval Office secret bathroom, they actually write the nuclear codes under an ashtray, and Trump was just stealing souvenirs and he accidentally stole that ashtray, and they're like, and everybody's embarrassed. I love the whataboutism. TYT members, viewers, everybody doesn't have to worry about that whataboutism, because TYT always calls out, if there is injustice in the system carried out by the elites, first off, no surprise there. Second off, I want it investigated no matter what. If it's Obama, if it's Carter, if it's JFK, if it's FDR, investigate it. The weirdness is the double standard on the people who are telling you that there's a double standard, and that's Fox News. People like Laura Ingraham who are like, but what about Hillary Clinton? It's like they always talked about Hillary Clinton. That was nonstop nonsense.
100%. Yeah, we're actually later on the show, we're gonna go into just a little bit of how much. But so that was Laura Ingraham. Sean Hannity says the documents are meaningless. So it's not even that it could be anything. They're literally meaningless. How does he know? He doesn't know, but they're meaningless.
And regarding those droids, these aren't the ones you're looking for, said
clearly. Exactly, but look, this is part of a pattern. I wanna show you just two more quick videos, because they have been, Donald Trump, he loves to attack his enemies, but he also loves to, whether intentionally or not, humiliate his allies. And when he continually lies and makes people go out and say his lies, and then it's revealed that they're lies because he's not even smart enough to hide the lies well, then they inevitably and almost instantaneously look like idiots as a result of it. And so they were running with all week, he can't, you're saying he should release it, but he can't release it, okay? How could he possibly release it? He doesn't have it. Well, he did have it, which led to this fun back and forth on the 5.
If I'm willing to do that, some people have got to be willing to say the president had the warrant and he had the receipt and he said he didn't.
It's not about that.
That's not a crime.
It's not about the warrant, and you know it. It's not about the warrant.
We're talking abuse of power.
Yes, we are very much talking about abuse of power, Gene Pirro. You just seem to be missing who's doing the abusing. And you're right, it's not a crime to say you don't have it. It's a lie to say that you don't have it. And when you've identified that the guy you worship lied to you, we were never gonna believe it, but you did. He lied to you. You might ask the follow-up question, wait, why was he lying about that? If this is the thing that he says and you still say will exonerate him, why was he lying about not having it? And now you know he does have it, so why is he not releasing it? These are fascinating questions. They would make for good discussion on a show like The Five.
These fools, when Jeanine Pirro goes home and takes off her wig and her makeup and her fake teeth, and Jesse Waters goes home and just like pulls off his wig and his mask and his stupid, remember when the Joker like wiped off the makeup and he revealed that he had white face underneath? When they all do that, they all go like, this is so exhausting at the end of the day. And they and as much as they say that on the left, like, oh, people in Hollywood can't say that they have questions about certain things because they're afraid they'll get canceled. That's exactly what happens on The Five. Yes. There are things that these free speech warriors say you cannot, that they cannot say without themselves literally getting canceled from shows like The Five. They're all begging that Ron DeSantis' spy at Mar-a-Lago's plan totally worked out. And this vanquishes Trump from everyone's world once and for all. Because they're at this point willing to go back to like lower ratings and boringer news just so they don't have to debase themselves so frequently on national television.
You're 100% right. There's things you just can't say. They're politically incorrect, one would say. What Harold Ford Jr. just said there was incorrect and they had to shut him down. This is actually a pattern though. I'm gonna show one more video. Sorry, Sophie. Let's go to this. This is from the previous day on The Five. Take a look at Jeanine Pirro, who I'm gonna guess was 2.5 bottles in. Here's how she responds to an inconvenient fact being presented to her.
Of what?
That he actually just did something really bad and he shouldn't have done it. You had 15 boxes carted away already, 10 to 12 this time around.
He cooperated with them.
No, he didn't. That's how
he cooperated with them.
Yelling it doesn't make it true.
Yeah, he did.
Jesse,
He sent boxes back.
Jesse, tonight on your show, can you please add Sandy Berger?
I love when they
he cooperated. He cooperated with him. How dare you?
I'll tell you, it's so ridiculous. And it's so funny.
Really fast, Brett. Factually, he did not cooperate. He kept many boxes. Jeanine, don't throw a bottle at me. Don't throw the bottle, but he did not cooperate.
A bottle of what? Like pills, booze.
I like to think that she has a cocktail. The Jeanine Pirro sort of quasi boba cocktail. It's wine. It's not boba floating in it, but it's a mix of pills. I don't know.
She's got one of those giant straws where she's like, ooh, the tapioca Xannies are hitting pretty good today.
Oh my God. Anyway, look, that's insensitive of us to say, except look at what she's presenting us with. That was live on TV. That's how she comports herself.
Yeah.
Anyway. With that said, we unfortunately do have to go to our first break, but we're just starting, okay? Because the right wing, who, by the way, after the nuke stuff came out, most of them didn't tweet anything for literally hours. They're coordinating, they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do. They have a press conference. We're gonna get to their attempts to cover for him, all that and more after this.
Rawr, mama.
Sophie, it's a big news day, okay? Sometimes it's big news.
You know who's not watching Damage Report very obviously?
Who?
Brooke Thomas just texted me, hey, what are you doing? That means she doesn't watch the Damage Report every day.
Well, no, I was sure that she watched it every day. Anyway.
Either that or she's watching it she knows I'm on my cell phone and she's trying to throw me off. That's probably what's happening.
No, maybe it's a critique of your performance. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, okay, let's see what's going on out there. In the members' comments, Gabby, hey, Gabby says, yay, it's McBeardsley Sarcasmo, the dragon's uncle. Happy Friday, every peeps. I like it. Nice.
Hey, Gabby.
After we were talking about the messages put out, Tracy Ravenhawk just put a YouTube comment, Troll Central. That's never gonna get old of me. Anyway, we gotta do a bit of a fact check here. Because John Wood in the chat said, John, ditch the spray tan. I want to be very clear about what's going on. There's no spray tan, okay? I have tan here and on the front of my arms because I walk my dog in the morning in the sun, and that's about it. But anyway, now I am gonna get spray tan. I'm Mediterranean.
Whatever.
What do you want out of me?
He's got
I'm Italian.
He's got that. When the Nazis allied with the Italians, they didn't know how dark the skin could get. And yes, he's also German. I'm just trying to call John out.
That's also true. I am all of those things. Anyway, yeah, I'm Italian, okay? And that has some serious negatives in terms of ability to like maintain a stable government, produce a low carb diet, but there are positives too.
When the lira was happening, the joke from my Italian friend was everybody's family has someone on the money. Just so many governments, right. Some family member of yours is on the money.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what's going on with the members over on YouTube. Daniel Velasquez has been here for 13 months, says Dark Brandon on Monday. Now we need Dark Brett. I think we could get it.
Oh, crap! I just kicked my kitty table that I had, my dinner table.
That's Dark Brett.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jonathan Poten gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Lynn Hopkins joined us. Thank you. River Rose gifted 5 memberships as well. Look at all the gifting going on. Is it Christmas in August? Alan Addison's been here for 20 months. Says be able to blackmail those whose signal intercepts were about. I don't know. We were just speculating at this point. We can't say anything definitive, but hopefully we will find out. Saren's been a member for 19 months. Says didn't Trump say he would love to release his taxes, but he couldn't? Yeah, weird. I do recall that. Layu says, Brett Rauer, good to see you. John, when you use political words, remember to define them. Your top 10 meaningless words list could have been stronger. With love and respect, you're great. Yeah, okay, that's a good point. I guess I sometimes do assume, I assume everyone has been watching this for 10 years. I probably shouldn't do that. Anyway, let's see. Derek says in the super chat, I wonder if he knows what the nuclear triad is yet. Oh God, I remember making a video about that.
Dude. I do remember you doing that.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I gotta find that.
The nuclear triad is atomic fireballs, red hots, and flaming hot Cheetos.
God. That was Final Judgment, right? I think that was Final Judgment. I'm gonna try to find that. Anyway, okay.
Triad? It's like submarines,
right?
ICBMs.
It's bombers, ICBMs, and submarines. Okay, Drew in Georgia gifted us here 1 sub. Thank you. Over on Twitch, Brandy Lou 2 gifted 5, making 835 so far. Jeez. Shoegaze Dragon Georgie says John hates Skip. I do not hate Skip. Anyway, I abuse him on a regular basis. Anyway, John Shepard says, didn't David Schuster already predict this here on TDR? He said it was about the Records Act. He was right. Yes, no, we had a good talk about that earlier this week. Okay, lots more to get to. Don't go anywhere.
Meow.
A little bit dragon, a little bit cat, a little bit goat. Anyway, with that said, we got so much more news to get to. Everyone hit the like button if you haven't already. 2.1K, we can go higher than that, come on. And with that, let's jump back into the news. Donald Trump's allies in government weren't going to allow a little thing like the revelation that he had apparently stolen nuclear secrets stop them from defending him. So they rallied all night and they came back armed for bear, okay, in terms of their rhetoric. So here's what they've got. Here's a little preview. This one guy says, this is Mike Turner, Donald Trump has more classified information in his head than he does in his desk. First of all, no, he doesn't. I would love to see that guy, Trump, list 5 things you know about nukes. But no, the stuff that's in his head isn't illegal to have. The stuff in his desk very much is. So I get why he would want to delude us there. By the way, he also in that says that this was unnecessary. The FBI had many other alternatives. What they could have done was gone to a court to enforce the subpoena for him to turn over the documents, which I love as an attempted cover because there he indicates that they had already exercised other options, which was the subpoena that Trump was defying. So great job there. But they do a lot to try to cover for him. Let's jump into this first video.
It's true that he has classified information or what it is or that it was about nuclear weapons. I can tell you that there are a number of things that are classified that fall under the umbrella of nuclear weapons, but that are not necessarily things that are truly classified. And many of them you can find on your own phone as we stand here. And if they fall within that category, they're not an imminent national security threat that would rise to the level of you have to raid Donald Trump's home and spend 9 hours there.
Okay, so for that performance, you come for the, well, everybody's got nuke stuff on their phone, and then you stay for the, I mean, anybody come? That dude was not comfortable with that, Brett. Those are the chosen defenders. Those were the champions they sent out to address this thing. And that guy was like, it looked like he had the meat sweats going on during that talk.
I've seen less ridiculous cover-ups from Ike Turner than Mike Turner, something like that.
Something like that.
Great. It's so great. Like, did he just out himself for smuggling nuclear secrets? He's like, yeah, we all got them on our phone, right? You know how like some people, they just, anyways, I gotta go. And it's like, listen, this is an official statement from the "you have no business believing us" panel. It's just a bunch of Trump apologists who were like, this is pretty perfunctory. We all drew the cool straw for like getting, the people that we want to shore up our relationship with Donald Trump for any time we nameless, faceless idiots run for re-election. So what we want to do is be on record. We're the lucky ones who get to be on record, debasing ourselves like everyone else. But in this situation, we got a C-SPAN logo and like 6 flags behind us.
So that part seems official. But anyway, it gets even more ridiculous. Here's Chris Stewart.
Of course they're going to wonder that. Look what's happened over the last 5 years. And look at the premise of most of your questions. Was it nuclear? Was it, heck, maybe it was aliens. That's the point. We don't know. We're asking them to tell us. And until they tell us, then we're going to have questions like this. And the presumption is going to be that it is political. There's a way to depoliticize this. Give us the information.
I'm not even gonna ding him for the politicicize. That's a tough one. I actually think that's one of the tougher words in the English language. So I'm gonna give a pass on that. I love what he's like. Is it about nuclear? Well, first of all, yes, it does appear to be. That's why you're doing the press conference that you're doing. Maybe it's about aliens. Please, oh God, please, can it just be about aliens? I would really prefer it was about aliens. And sign me up for that. I wish it was about aliens too.
Yeah, that's the most believable one. I don't think Trump is smuggling nuclear secrets out. I think he's like, where's the alien stuff? Give me the UFOs. I know it's here. That's why I became president in the first place. Also, this guy is just too good to be true. Like, you gotta be kidding me. He might be the dumbest person. I call him Porky Pig, but it is Dorky Pig. And that jacket, it's like he is 5 children inside a jacket with one coming out the top. It is hilariously short-sighted too, because all this information is gonna come out as to what is actually in the subpoena and the warrant and maybe some affidavits. It's gonna come out. And so they're just setting themselves up for having to move another set of goalposts. But since that's been the MO since the Trump administration took power, and I will say, like, on all sides, like if anyone's doing something wrong, all this does is undercut everyone's faith in the institutions of government, and that sets us up for either people having the real earnest will to reform government institutions, and I would put myself in that category. And then these weird opportunists who show out to everyone their intense hypocrisy and opportunism, who are not complaining about the other stuff they're whataboutisming, right? If it's whataboutism, both the things you're talking about are bad, but they want to prosecute Hillary and they don't want to prosecute Trump. And that double standard leads to the polarization of all of Americans into 2 camps, and it's headed somewhere really, really freaky, as evidenced by the guy who just took a gun and a nail gun to the FBI building in Cincy.
100%, which we're gonna get to in a little bit. Yeah, whataboutism is pretending, no, let's act on both of these things when the goal is to not act on anything. It's to have no standard whatsoever. By the way, you said that they're sort of like they're keep moving the goalposts. This guy's already behind the goalposts because he said there, is it nuclear? Is it aliens? Until we know. But again, we could know right now. Donald Trump could release it right now. We could know exactly what it is. Why are you not asking Donald Trump to release it? Get on the phone, Trump phone home, because it's about aliens, and ask him to release the damn thing. But you don't, because you don't actually want to know. All of this is about stalling for time, trying to delude people, hoping that maybe the conspiracy like mill will rev up and imply that this is actually about aliens. How did they not land on that, by the way, yet? Dude, how did they not say that this is about a cover-up having to do with aliens? They really failed me here.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Super fast.
Yeah, super fast. This is how they call Trump. These guys, it's like he's God to them. And just like God, they're just kind of saying it out into the ether, hoping he's listening.
Yeah.
And he could be a vengeful and angry God and smite them at any time. Or he could uplift them and take them to the promised land of re-election.
Yeah, 100%. One more video, super fast. Let's go to this last one.
I want to point out the double standard here too. You know, we saw that this media frenzy about supposedly classified information. Where was this same media frenzy when there was 33,000 classified emails on a server in a bathroom with Hillary Clinton? Why didn't they raid that bathroom? Why did they work with her to find out a time, a date, and what documents they could and couldn't see?
Oh, that's a great question. I love trivia. Okay, where was the media frenzy around that? It was on the media. It was a media frenzy. It was on the media. Do people not remember? It was not that many years ago. Go to this study. Hillary Clinton's emails got as much front page coverage in 6 days as policy did during more than 2 full months of the presidential election. And by the way, that period when it was every single day on the front page was the couple of weeks leading up to the presidential election. The media frenzy was on the media. That's the answer to your question. It was absolutely everywhere.
I'm so disappointed in John Iadarola right now because the graphic that he showed had the number 69 in it. And he did not.
I'm trying to elevate this show. There's some new viewers here today. I'm trying to bring up the bar.
It's like,
but yes,
saw
it's
your
nice.
rundown at like 7:30. I was like, all right, I know when I'm gonna just say nice. I know when that's gonna happen. I don't know what else I'm gonna say on the show, but let me be the first to officially say 69, nice.
Thank you. And with that, we can go to our second break. And when we come back, still related issues. Dude attacked the FBI, and we've now got more details about who he is, what he believed, who he supported. It'll shock you in all of the ways that it won't. We'll be right back.
Nice dragon.
Imagine if there were dragons, but all they do is wait around for the number 69 to be said so they can say nice in a deep, dragony baritone. Okay, with that, everyone, let's see what's going on out there. First of all, I want to let you know that tonight there's a lot of stuff going on our programming today. You already had the watch list. Now I got the I was gonna say the Dragon Report, the damage report. Coming up afterward, indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, going to be joined by Rick Strom. Isn't that going to be fun? You've got me leading the first hour of the Young Turks later on today. I'm going to find out with who. And then there is going to be, I believe, a Brett Erlich-led Game Busters.
Hour one is John. I don't remember. I think it's John.
I'm loading it. What about Game Busters?
Okay. Game Busters tonight. Jordan Ewell. I had a whole joke for him this morning. I forget it. But Jordan Ewell, more like Jordan Velocevic. He's not here today.
Okay.
It was really funny at 3:30 when I was delirious. Jordan's not here today. He's doing something else. So we had some people vote in the Discord and either go to the Discord and continue to vote. Thank you to everyone who runs the Discord, or just show up at Game Busters and discover what games we're going to be playing tonight. Myself,
something will be busted
if the power and internet comes back to this building. So we'll see.
Sounds good. Okay, Jason, welcome to Tier 1 membership on YouTube. Glad to have you here. Let's see. Okay, Kide says, John, I hereby challenge you. Learn to pronounce my surname and I will gift 50 subs. Also, hi, Brett, you cutie pie. So
thank you. How do you?
Okay. Buharvi. That's my final answer for right now. Maybe we can give a few tries. I apologize. I'm not cultured. VUOJA with the umlaut, I think. RVI.
No, they can't. You can't pronounce that. That's just visual. There's no auditory way to read that. So it's
a pictogram, is what it is.
Anyway. in the
Okay.
Nordic country, it's pronounced.
Anyway, no, it is a lovely name. I just can't pronounce it. I'm sure, but I tried. Anyway, let's see. May Money says, John, I'm craving breakfast nachos. Brett, did you get into fisticuffs with your hairbrush? Never mind, I'll take a shot with you.
The best part is I can't see it because I'm on my phone, so the top of my hair is like cut off. Wow. I
think it looks fine.
First of all, I haven't used a comb since the 90s, so
that's true. Let's see. Marianne says Trader 45 for prison, assuming that he is convicted, but I doubt it. Look, we're having fun. One of the reasons I'm stressing that this is the best news week ever, it's official, by the way, I've declared, I've called it, this is the best news week for several years, is that it's not like I expect this to result in him going to prison. I don't want to be Buzz Killington or anything, but let's enjoy it while we got it. Anyway, let's see. Kida gifted 5 Damage Report memberships. I don't know if I got it right or if that's 1/10, which is the percentage I got it right. I don't know. We'll find out.
That's funny.
Anyway, Tony Face says, in England in 1649, Cromwell and Parliament agonized for months when Charles I had committed treason. They reluctantly decided that the best way to reunite the country was to publicly execute the king. Can I just see, am I the bad guy? I don't want anyone to be publicly executed or privately executed or executed at all.
Or maybe just
that's what they did.
Maybe a chemical castration or something.
Perhaps, no. Or yes, I want our show to finally go viral. I am calling for Trump to be publicly castrated. Anyway,
which I don't think is against the law. It's not an incitement to violence. You're saying let the normal justice system prevail.
Well, it'll extend lifespan. It'll reduce aggressive behavior. He'll get along better with other dogs. So it's actually it's a blessing. Anyway, with that said, let's get into more news. And I think what we're gonna do is, I think we're probably gonna do, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Okay. Yesterday, immediately prior to the damage report, we found out a little bit about the guy who apparently tried to break into FBI headquarters in Cincinnati and then fled the scene, apparently shooting at agents, and was eventually involved in a shootout with agents. Well, we now have a lot more information about this individual, including that tragically he was killed. We don't know the circumstances of his death. Was it necessary? That's always worthy to question. What you should stop questioning though is whether the fact that after a week of every right winger in the country saying that the FBI is gonna come for you and your family, a guy attacking the FBI might get them to back off a little bit or show a little bit of remorse. No. That day, yesterday, after this news came out, Greg Gutfeld dismissed death threats from Trump supporters to law enforcement as just heckling. It's just heckling, like at a sporting event. He said this after a guy attacked the FBI, not before, after. So bear that in mind. Infowars, by the way, and I go back and forth between Fox News and Infowars because at this point they're effectively the same in terms of credibility. And Fox News treats Infowars as just as credible as them. He said after the news came out that the Bureau is a terrorist organization. He says, I don't think anybody's been killed or anything like that, but it's the FBI. They can spy on us, they can lie to us, they can set us up, they can frame us, they can raid a former president's home in a political persecution attack, but they're the victims. And then the next day, oh look, we got a shooter at the FBI in Cincinnati. So, well, yes, when they're attacked, that in that case they are the victims. That's how that works. And oh look, we got a shooter. No, but you were involved. You and Infowars were involved in this right-wing narrative to get people fired up to do something to the FBI. So oh shoot, look, we got that. No, but that's what you wanted. Don't act surprised at this point. And you gotta love saying like, oh no, nobody should attack them, which he goes on to say. But like, imagine if you were like, oh, someone crashed a plane into the Twin Towers and the Twin Towers can like be really tall and they can do all this stuff to us and now they're the victim. But that is actually how he responded to this attack in real time. Now, thankfully, his attack wasn't successful in terms of killing any of the officers. He did end up killing, and I do think we need more information about what happened there. But he has been identified. It's Ricky Walter Schiffer. And he hasn't just been identified. We know something about his ideology and why he did this. We'll get to that in just a sec, but Brett, I wanted to give you a chance to weigh in.
If you want an extended cut of everyone on Fox News, and this is everywhere on right-wing media, pretending that they're shocked that someone would attack the FBI. And then you want to see all the times when they said, listen, they're basically all but calling for violence against the FBI. Go to youtube.com/TYT investigates reports, because we got a video coming out this week. Nice. That's just a shocking, or today, or maybe this weekend, that's a shocking number of people from John Bongino to Sean Hannity to everyone who conveniently take this as the opportunity to say, oh no, this is the FBI overreach when they raid Trump's place. And they're shocked when they're absolutely calling for these people to do it. And this dynamic is not foreign to them. They accuse Democratic leaders, not even Democratic, well, they do accuse Democratic leaders for inspiring leftists to maybe like char up a trash can outside an Apple store. And they're calling that the end of the union and a direct call to violence. The double standard is stupid. In my situation, I will condemn all of those actions that result in violence and threats on people and life. Yeah, I think that's all bad. And it's okay to say that it's all bad. It's actually really terrible to only pick out one kind of person who's acting violently.
I agree. The difficulty is that they often more harshly criticize peaceful protest on the left than they do violent attacks on the right. They freaked out about Kavanaugh having people, like that he didn't even see protesting. That requires legislation. The fact that a guy attacked the FBI after we told them the FBI was coming for them, they don't have anything to say about that. We got to go on to what he said, because we apparently have communications from this guy. Allegedly, you never know with this sort of thing, but it's the guy, he's on Truth Social. The first post that surfaced was him saying, I thought I had a way through the bulletproof glass. People are saying that's what the nail gun was for, so that he could then shoot the AR-15 into the FBI building. He says, if you don't hear from me, it's true, I tried attacking the FBI. That apparently came out during the attack. Okay, take it for what it is. But anyway, earlier this week, people, this is it. Leave work tomorrow as soon as the gun shop, Army, Navy store, pawn shop opens. Get whatever you need to be ready for combat. We must not tolerate this one. They have been conditioning us to accept tyranny and think we can't do anything for 2 years. This time we must respond with force. It is not impossible that it could turn out that that is not from him. It appears to be from him. And he is echoing what he was told day after day after day. Since the raid, this is tyranny. This is a banana republic. This is a dictatorship. You need to do something or they're gonna come for you and your family. And if not them, then the IRS. One of the two is coming for you. And this guy tried to kill FBI agents. And he died as a result of it.
Yep. And worse, like the fake leftists who like simp for the folks on the right who are absolutely calling for, like spoon feeding this kind of baseless radicalization rhetoric to millions of people. For what end? To what end? I have no idea, because there is no way in hell that those people that they're pandering to, the elites in media and the elites in the Republican Party, are ever gonna propose any kind of tangible policy that's gonna be on their side, ever. It's never gonna happen.
Yeah, stop acting that people who have no physical capacity to act in good faith are acting in good faith. It isn't that they ignored all of the bad things the FBI did and now they've seen the light. They didn't care about it before and they don't care about it now. They want a right winger in charge who won't investigate Trump. They're not looking to reform the FBI and make it more accountable. Like, get that out of your heads. That's a crazy thing to believe. Anyway, with that said, we do need to get on to our last topic because the time of this first hour is waning. So let's jump into this. If you've chafed under the restrictions of the pandemic, if you've been wondering when is this thing finally going to end, well, sort of according to the CDC, we're kind of done with this. Not wholly, but they put out new guidelines easing COVID restrictions, noting that the virus is here to stay. And it's basically moving from schools, businesses, government offices, those sorts of things being responsible for dealing with this, and basically putting it on you. You should still be responsible, but we're moving on. So now schools and other institutions don't need to screen apparently healthy students and employees as a matter of course. There's no more like, standardized testing or anything. They put less emphasis on social distancing. They're dropping the 6-foot standard. The quarantine rule for unvaccinated people is gone. The agency's focus is now on highly vulnerable populations and how to protect them. So if you've been exposed to the virus, they're not even suggesting that you isolate. Only if you know that you have it should you isolate for 5 days or possibly 10 if you have a particularly bad case of it. And look, they're not going to present it as totally giving up, and they haven't totally given up. There's still vaccines and there will be boosters, but in terms of official policy, this is as close as you're gonna get to just whatever. We tried for 2 years. People really haven't complied for most of it. We're not gonna bother now. So just go about your business. That's what it feels like, Brett.
No, that's exactly what happens. That is 100% what's happening there. And it follows the right pattern, in my opinion. Like at first, when faced with some kind of challenge, you try to fight it. And you do everything you can and put all the best minds together to fight it, to stop it. And then at this point, that wasn't enough. And you're gonna get the dumbest takes from so many people. They're like, I told you so. But they're just the clock that was right twice a day. They took a ridiculous, on its face stance from the get-go. And what's worse, a weak stance where they weren't trying to fight, they weren't trying to do anything, and they did it for things that obviously only benefited their pocketbooks in the elite. They wanted business to go on as normal. And what's worse is when we put in new policy in order to help people get through it, the major corporations just took that money from the people it was meant to help, and they just pocketed it, did stock buybacks, and didn't hire folks or raise their wages.
100%, yeah. And look, I think at the end of the day, this isn't really about people. This is about just whatever was stopping people from going back to work or congregating. Like this is for the economy. This is for capitalism. That's who this is serving. And you're right. Some right wingers would be like, well, if we could just give up now, why couldn't we just give up a year and a half ago? Well, but you did give up, as Brett said. You gave up a year and a half ago, and we didn't want lots of people to die needlessly. I'll remind you, over 1 million people died. And by the way, we're done now. There were 108,000 cases reported yesterday, just for clarity. And that's reported cases. Do you believe people are testing the way that they were a couple years ago? Nearly 500 people died yesterday with COVID. And that's higher than it was 3 or 4 months ago. So we're done. COVID's not done, but we're done with COVID. Anyway, unfortunately, that is all the time we have for our first hour of our show. So if you're on the linear platforms or on the podcast, thank you so much for watching. But if you're on Twitch or YouTube, so many other platforms, we've got a lot more to talk about, including absolutely insane nanny postings. The way that workers get abused in this country is absurd. We've got Herschel Walker trying to spin him holding a gun to his wife's head as a good thing. And we'll be throwing away our garbage people of the week. So don't go anywhere. Brett and I will be back in just a few. Welcome to the Aftermath, everyone. With me, John Iadarola, and Brett Erlich. Brett, thank you for being here.
It's so great to be here, John, but we don't have time. Just move on in the show.
I'm gonna do that. We have great stuff to talk about. We're gonna have a little debate. We're gonna shut up. We're gonna throw away some garbage people. Shut up, and it's gonna be awesome. But oh God, William Moore says breaking news: Anne Heche did pass away from her injuries after the car accident earlier this week. That's very sad. Everything about that story is just so incredibly sad. Let's see. Also, there's it happened like immediately before the show, so we don't have details on it. But Salman Rushdie was apparently attacked on stage prior to giving a speech. I'm hearing very different things about how severe the attack was. It's hard for me to follow breaking news during the show, but that is happening. Perhaps on later programming on the network, we'll have more to say about that. Okay, let's see. Suspicious Pergola says, "Remember when not knowing how to spell potato would ruin your political career? Those were the days. Am I right?" Exactly. Yeah. Oh God, the standards have changed. Okay. Darb to the left said on Twitch, Ronnie Jackson said Trump has nuclear level 6-pack abs. So maybe he just stole his medical reports. That's probably what it was. Anyway, NewTube Gaming gifted 5 subs. Thank you. The first 5 gifted. Oh, I appreciate that. Holy Beer Dragon gifted 5 as well. Is closing in on 800 gifted subs. Thank you so much. Now, Shoegaze Dragon Georgie says, John, stop abusing Sophie and give her a hefty pay raise along with a vacation. Thankfully, of the many things that I am not responsible for, people's pay is very much on that list.
I am, and no, just kidding. I'm not at all remotely.
Thank you. I'm not even responsible for my own pay, and that's the first name I would put on the list. Anyway, with that said, let's get into some news, starting with this. If you're looking for work, I've got a job you definitely don't want. Take a look at this job posting for a nanny that has, I'm gonna say, pretty strenuous requirements. School is starting again, and that means we once again need a nanny. Please read all of these requirements. You need to have a master's degree or higher so that our 5-year-old and 7-year-old will be intellectually challenged. No, your Bachelor of English doesn't mean you're smart, sorry. You must be between 24 and 28 years of age, that's so specific, to keep up with the activity level of our kiddos. And please plan to have your own housing. Don't assume you will be staying with us. Yes, we have extra room, but the privilege is earned, not assumed. We need you from 7 a.m., maybe up to 8:30, until 3 to 6 every weekday, and the pay will be $18 daily, not hourly, daily. Plan to bring snacks or other food for the kiddos, as our cabinets will be locked during the day while we work. You'll also need to bring educational materials such as workbooks, as we do not keep anything like this at home. Thanks. So brushing aside why snacks was in like quotation marks, and I'm gonna wonder about that for the rest of my days. The idea that you want someone with maybe a doctorate to teach your kids physics all day long while running around on $18 a day, and they're paying for food to feed your kids all day, which I'm gonna say is gonna cost more than the $18. It's led me and many people to question whether this is real. Now that said, in response to this story coming out, a lot of people online have been posting lots of like job postings for nannies, and they do tend to have a lot of crazy requirements. So Brett, is this real or not? What do you think?
I think the fact that this went viral simply underscores the undeniable fact that millennials just don't want to work anymore. They don't know the value of hard work. They don't know the value of earning your keep, cutting your teeth, getting an extra education. That back in my day, it just meant you'd have to get like 6 or 7 nanny jobs. And honestly, with the technology now, with them on their phones like they are all the time, and we should have the technology to do at least 3 or 4 days in your day. They have iPhones that they're always on. I don't understand what the problem is and why anyone would reject an opportunity for work, especially in this economy.
Yeah, look, it's believable because we know how much people don't care about people who are desperately trying to work to make a living. We, in particular, people who get master's degrees, whatever. We're like, as a culture, we just mock them. So the idea that they would come out and be happy to earn after snacks $1.50 for a day's work teaching multiple kids French and thermodynamics, I guess that's believable. The we're gonna lock our cabinets. Don't even think about eating our popcorn. And we've got space, but you can't live there. That's where, to me, it feels like maybe it's just that I hope that it's satire. I hope that nobody would actually post this, but I can't say for sure.
When I was in college, I wrote an email about how douchey frat boys we were all in a frat. And it sounded kind of like this. It wasn't serious, but it was taking whatever, and that's what you do in like satire, is you take it to the nth degree. I think that is probably the case of what's happening here, but there have to have been things that aren't too dissimilar from that are actually asked for, as you mentioned, for this to go as viral.
I'll give you one. You want one?
Yeah.
So here's you need a bachelor's degree in childcare or 9 years of relevant experience. References full-time availability, including weekends. So
this is a real one.
Well, they're all supposedly real. Full-time availability, including weekends. So you just work every day. You need to own a car, be English speaking, but also speak another language so that you can teach her kids the other language. You need to know CPR, no history of problems with the law or even traffic tickets, and she will be checking on databases. No tattoos, no drugs, no alcohol, no sketchy social media behavior or public pictures. I assume they mean sketchy public pictures. You gotta be okay with pit bulls. That's fine, pit bulls are good boys. Must be okay with emergency last minute calls. When would these calls be coming? You're working all the time anyway. Perfect attendance, 100% required. Willing to pay for snacks. Again, the idea that the employee you're hiring would be buying the snacks seems absurd to me. Working with 3 people, and the capper ideally will be a Trump fan.
That's insane.
You gotta teach my 3 kids German while paying for their Takis, and I'll give you $10 an hour, which is a lot better than the other one, at least. It's a little bit more money.
This one isn't exactly, who has a bachelor's degree in childcare? 9 years of relevant babysitting experience, that one should happen. But like,
is there a relevant babysitting experience? Like it's not applicable?
This doesn't count. It was baby squirrels. Sorry, you gotta be baby people.
Okay, you must be okay with my basket of squirrels.
Sophie's applying for another job. She took that pay raise thing very seriously and just put in the chat, I have 9 years of experience.
Yeah, well, Sophie's not a Trump fan. So
but the thing is,
do you want to buy that kid food?
I know people who have nannied for families and they make a ton of money relative to what they're asked to do, but they're not asked this much, and they get paid way more than 10 under the table dollars.
Yeah, they're not hiring a nanny, they're hiring a mom slash teacher. It's like a teach multiple advanced topics and languages and give them physical exercise. Like that's a full staff job. You can't pay them $18. So anyway, we have a poll up right now at 2it.com/polls/entitled-parents. But if you just go to 2it.com/polls, you'll find it. Do you think that this is real or not? And I think it says less about the posting and more about what we want to believe about America. But that's available. We'll give the results later on at the end of the. Or actually, I'm not sure if we're gonna have by the end, but we'll give them to you eventually.
They were nicer with that to said, the Marthas and the handmaids than they are to this person.
Is there an economy there? I don't know if they get paid.
John, move on to the next story. We don't have time.
Wanted to. That was my goal. That was my only goal. Anyway, with that said, let's jump into this.
People told me politics is dirty. They're right. My opponents launched a dirty attack ad. They dug up an old video and took it out of context. My opponents think they're hurting me, but I'm glad they did this ad because it gives me an opportunity to end the stigma around mental health. Here's the truth. My ex-wife Cindy and I are good friends, along with her husband and my wife. And I am grateful for all the support Cindy gave me during the hardest time of my life. I came forward back then in an effort to save lives and to help people who were struggling. We need to end the stigma around mental health. Let me say this to anyone watching, all the veterans and people who are suffering. Your life has value. There is hope, and you're not alone.
Honestly, the close of that video, I think, is my favorite things that I've ever heard from Herschel Walker. I do think there should be less stigma around mental illness, getting care, therapy, all of that. I think that's totally true. That is not why he's doing this message, though. He's responding to the ad that he referenced there. And he wants you to believe that all of this is good news for him and that the video was just taken out of context. So we're gonna show you the video. And I want you to think about whether it's okay to have a bit of an issue with this. And as you're watching this video, I want you to imagine what context would make this video okay. Take a look at this ad.
Do you think you know Herschel Walker? Well, think again. Listen to what his ex-wife had to say about him.
His eyes would become very evil. The guns and knives. I got into a few choking things with him. The first time he held the gun to my head, he held the gun to my temple and said he was gonna blow my brains out.
So really fast, the context for that ad is that he threatened to murder this woman. The context is he has apparently done that to multiple people over multiple years. Now look, should you go for therapy or treatment after that? Yes, you 100%. And it should be available, 100%. You should be taken seriously. It should be made available to you. But the idea that for literally year after year after year, he made all of these violent threats against domestic partners, against random people on the road. And then of course, when you add on to it, absurd fantasies he's spun about being a federal agent and all these other insane things that make no sense whatsoever. There shouldn't be stigma around that. If treatment is desired, it should be there. But he is not looking for acceptance. He's looking for a spot in the Senate, okay? And so look, that's his response. He's trying to spin it as a positive. Maybe it'll even work. What do you think, Brett?
I think that the person best equipped to address the issues that Herschel Walker brings up in his defense of himself is Raphael Warnock. Like you have someone who has a track record of community service and outreach and doing well. Reverend Raphael Warnock is better at all the things that Herschel Walker says that he doesn't even say they make him better equipped. He's saying somebody should take care of people like me. And honestly, like what his argument is that his ex-wife, whom he threatened to kill, is nice to him now. Yeah, I'd be very nice to someone who threatened to kill me randomly at random intervals. I wouldn't antagonize them in public. She went and did that interview back in the day. I hope people get to see that ad and just take it for what it's worth. And everybody that looks around, and in Georgia, the state already said enough Trump. They need to say enough Trumpism. And then the Republican Party, I hope, never learns their lesson, to be honest. I hope they keep doing this nonsense like they've been doing. And I hope that the only nut we need to crack is getting progressives into Congress who represent what most Americans want, because we're more likely to get the change we need that way. But the guy threatened to kill multiple people. And you know what? Trump opened the door to that when he had Ben Carson, who admitted to trying to kill his mom or his friend by stabbing them.
Yeah.
At least Ben Carson is like somewhat seems rehabilitated. But Herschel Walker's still in the thick of it, man.
Yeah. Look, again, if he decided, you know what, this has been a wake-up call, I'm dropping out, and I'm gonna use my platform that I have to try to fight against this stigma, I think that would be a great use of his time. But pursuing political power doesn't make any sense. And look, even aside from this stuff, dude doesn't believe in evolution. He doesn't believe in like valid public health measures. He doesn't believe in climate change. This is not a person who has the capacity to address the crises facing America. We unfortunately have got to move on. We're gonna have to jump ahead to our H block. I think we're down to 10 minutes, right, Sophie? Well, we only got 10 minutes. Yeah, sorry. As much as I would have loved to give people an update on Darren Bailey. Maybe we can get to it on Monday. You let me know when we're good to go. I'm going to thank Truckee Nurse Dragon for gifting a sub. Very nice of you, thank you. Emil for your super chat, no message, but I still appreciate it. Billy B. Taylor says, wait, why do you need a nanny if the kids are going back to school? Presumably before and after, maybe. But anyway, we'll see. We're gonna look into more of these. Okay, it's the end of the week, and so it's time to take out the trash. This week has been what I've called the best news week in years, the week of the raid and so much more. Brett, amongst all of this good news, how do you go about choosing a garbage person?
There's a lot of people that are throwing down a lot of BS manure for Trump as he's been raided by the FBI, but none bring me quite as much joy as former Staten Island Congressman Michael Grimm. Take a look.
The entire classification system was created for the benefit of one person, period, end of story, one person, the President of the United States, to help the President of the United States handle national security matters. Literally just saying right now, this is declassified. This is classified, this is declassified. That's all he has to do. It doesn't even fill out paperwork. Who can possibly say that as he walked out 10 minutes before he was no longer president, he didn't simply say those 15 boxes, those 20 boxes are now declassified?
Amazing.
Yes, that is amazing. Amazingly stupid, almost as amazingly stupid as why he's not a congressman anymore. Not only was he embroiled in a campaign finance scandal, but when members of the press started asking questions about it, he threatened to throw one off a balcony.
Well, what about... Thank you. All right, so Congressman Michael Grimm does not want to talk about some of the allegations concerning his campaign finances. Back to you.
Why? Let me be clear to you. You have to do that to me again. I'll turn you on this.
It's a valid question.
You're not mad. You are not mad. Like a boy.
I love that man so much. Oh, what a break you in half like a boy breaks someone in half? Do you break it in half a lot of boys? Like, this is the kind of person that's going on TV now on Newsmax and being like, yo, Trump all the way. I'll make up these weird kind of almost facts about how to declassify information, which isn't exactly true, by the way. You still have to go through like a paperwork process to get them to take the words classified off the documents.
Yeah, well, that's true. Also, like, they've been denying that there was anything there to investigate, or that if it was there, it was important. Like, how much have they moved that it's now like, it doesn't matter anything. You can have anything and it's totally fine. And immediate follow-up. So you'd be cool with Joe Biden just taking a bunch of stuff, and he can just, it's not classified anymore. So he can just sell it. He can just put it on eBay and sell it to the Saudis if he wants to. Like, this is not an actual defense. They don't mean any of this. It is just defense of Trump. That's it.
Yep.
Right? Break you in half like a boy. Like, am I the bad guy that's definitely sexual? It's definitely sexual, right?
Absolutely sexual. It's definitely roid ragey. And then the thing about it is, when this happened, I was like, I would be mad, but he is the representative from Staten Island, and there's nothing you can do that's more representative of Staten Island than threaten to throw someone off a balcony.
It's true. It's just like, it wasn't good enough that you threatened to murder him by throwing him off a balcony. You had to like try to one up that.
But this is who they have on. This is who they have on Newsmax, is this guy who like was provably corrupt. And he's saying, well, listen, we got to find out. We got to ask the tough questions to the people in power. And when someone had the nerve to ask him the tough questions while he was a person in power, he threatened to throw that person off the balcony and break them like a boy.
Yeah, we should ask Merrick Garland the tough questions. And if in response he throws us off a balcony, that's the risk we'll take. Anyway.
Game respects game.
Yeah, good. So two things: one, good garbage person. Two, I like the little voiceover. That was fun. Let's do some more of that.
I'm trying to pitch it to the network. I'm telling all the producers about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to see more of that. I want to do it. Anyway. Okay. For my garbage person of the week, I don't think had Brian Kilmeade as my garbage person in some time, but I think you'll understand once we go to this video why he merited it. Here's Brian Kilmeade.
So a picture of Bruce Reinhart. This is the judge in charge of the as you know, of the warrant, and we'll see if he's going to release it next. He likes Oreos and whiskey.
Okay, no, he is not my garbage person for the worst delivery I've ever seen on cable news. No, it was the image. That image, that's damning. Oh my God, the judge was getting a foot rub from Ghislaine Maxwell while eating Oreos. Yeah, except that he obviously didn't. It's not a real image. And look, I don't know if Kilmeade really thinks it's real or if like at some point he makes a joke about it or something. But what I do know is he showed the craziest, most gullible people on TV. That he was filling in for Tucker Carlson. That is the Tucker audience. What do you think they're gonna take away from that? How many people are tweeting and truthing as we speak that the judge was sleeping with Ghislaine Maxwell? And how many of those people are gonna lose their minds and make death threats or possibly try to follow through on them based on the misinformation that Brian Kilmeade spread there? We sometimes give Brian Kilmeade credit because he's occasionally reasonable in some cases. That is so fundamentally irresponsible to do, to spread that. But it's not the only time this week that he's crossed the line. Just last night, he talked about how Joe Biden's new army is going to hunt down and kill middle-class taxpayers. That is him talking about the IRS and saying that because there's something in the job requirement about carrying a firearm, that he's saying they're going to hunt down and kill the middle class. That's kind of bold even for Tucker to say, or Jesse Waters. That's Brian Kilmeade, the Fox and Friends guy, the guy who's supposed to be like, he just like you, he jibber jabs and he gets into it, He's joking around. No, he's gone crazy. I don't know if that's what the stuff that you have to say when you're filling in for Tucker, but that is so unacceptable. Spreading misinformation like that, people still treat Fox like it's real news, and it's maddening to me.
Yeah, my read on that was that he knew that he was gonna say that thing, and he knew that they were gonna show an image of the judge and that he didn't know it was that image, or that he thought it was funny in the room when they pitched it to him because he's such a doofus. And then when he finally saw it, as he's tossing to Hannity, the next thing that happens in that interaction is he talks to Hannity and it's just even more awkward. But I think he got tripped up by it, and that's what happened. Maybe. And there's two, one of the, hello, Sheelan. Anyways, I'm a pervert. So anyways, he might have gotten distracted like I just got seeing boobies. I'm sorry, I hate to be that guy, but I'm that guy.
Yeah, also that judge has the same diet as you, apparently, the whiskey and the Oreos. But anyway, no, actually, I would go for some of those Oreos.
They weren't chocolate Oreos, super irresponsible. They were like
vanilla Oreos or something. Yeah, some one of the weird seasonal flavors.
The guy's a sex trafficker. He doesn't eat normal Oreos or double stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And by the way, so first of all, it's not like he's not affiliated in any way with Epstein. He worked with some of the people who worked with Epstein, so that's fine to bring up, I guess. But if you're gonna do that, it's because you believe that people being affiliated with Maxwell and Epstein's a bad thing. So why don't you apply that to other people? Why don't you apply that to Trump in that case? But you don't, because you don't actually care about it.
Yeah.
Anyway. With that said, those are our garbage people of the week. But as always, we put it out to you, and we wanted to know who is your garbage person of the week. So 39,000 of you voted this week, and here are your top 5. Coming in at number 5 with 5% of the vote is Joni Ernst for her hypocrisy in regard to the price of insulin, saying it's way too high, and then voting to remove the cap on it. Coming in at number 4 with 8% of the vote is Marjorie Greene for her insane performance at CPAC. Wow, Marjorie Greene usually does better on these. Okay. Number 3 with 15% of the vote is gonna be Kirsten Sinema for carving out tax loopholes for her billionaire donors. Really, that's number 3? Okay, number 2, 18% of the vote is Alex Jones for committing perjury over and over again. But number 1, your runaway garbage person of the week, 55% of the vote goes to the CPAC attendees for fully embracing a fascist dictator. I think they mean Viktor Orban there, not Trump, but hey, they like both. Anyway, thank you to the 39,000 of you who voted, much appreciated. And thank you to Brett for being here in advance of your epic appearance on Game Busters. There was a request for you to play Warframe later, so maybe consider that. But anyway, great to have you on.
Are we just saying random words?
It's an established game. It's been around for a long time. Anyway, all
right.
You should play some Magic Arena. That's what you should play. I'll talk to you about it later. Anyway, thank you for being on.
I grow back my.
What was that?
The weird female genitalia virginity joke about being a nerd. I'm not proud of it. I have no idea.
We're gonna dive into that later on.
When the show's supposed to end is really making me disoriented. Plus, I just saw a known sex trafficker's boobs a second ago and couldn't finish the sentence.
Okay, I think everybody can tell that it's Friday. and we've given you our all. We've got nothing left. So with that, thank you everyone for watching, including, it was a big audience today. Thank you to all of you who might be watching, for the first time, maybe in a while. We do it every day. We have a lot of fun, and we'd love to have you with us. For now, though, we do have to go. Indisputable is up next. You got Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Rick Strom's gonna be joining him. Later on, I'm gonna be leading the first hour of the Young Turks with Cenk Uygur and Francesca Fiorentini. So you know that's gonna be a great hour. For now, though, stay safe out there, stay sane out there, and we'll see you soon.